Basically, he said today that he would take Jared Goff over Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow.
The last name.
And his reason for Joe Burrow, I think, Jalen, Dak, Jordan, Brock, it's more like, it's pick 'em. So I don't mind that. But like Joe Burrow is where it triggered a lot of people nationally. They're like, what? Joe Burrow. His reasoning was he just hasn't stayed healthy.
I'm trying to like it literally. I'm like breathing heavy.
So just because he hasn't stayed healthy, Goff's a better quarterback.
Do we not remember that Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl with the worst offensive line in the NFL, and they had the number 1 pick? And do you know why that was? Because that year before, they had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. They went and got the left tackle. Was it Orlando Brown from the Chiefs? And he just completely fell on his face. They signed the center from the Bucs. He had to retire Ryan Jensen. They have had a just subpar offensive line for his whole career. And when you look at the defenses they're playing, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, he's not going to stay healthy when you can't protect him. And when you compare it to Jared Goff, all due respect, behind one of the best offensive lines, there's injury going to be different. If you think that Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow, you are simply smoking crack. And I'm sorry, you can't be helped. You can't be helped. There's no way that you can tell me watching Jared Goff, he is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. There's no fucking way. There's not a shot. Not a chance in hell. Not a chance.
I'm going to say this. Colin Cowherd was right about one thing. The list of quarterbacks that he named off, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, I'm taking Jared Goff over all 4 of those guys any day. I think Jared Goff, you can argue, is the best quarterback in the NFC right now. And that's where, to me, I feel like we've had that argument a lot. We've had that conversation a lot. To hear a guy like Colin Cowherd come out and say, essentially he's the best quarterback in the NFC, I am all in on that. But number 2, I'm with you, Klotzy, is the Joe Burrow thing. Joe Burrow, I talk about this all the time when it comes to Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. There is elite. There's guys on this level, and then there's the next level. Jared Goff's here. Those guys are up there, and it's just kind of, to me, it's a different level to where, like, if Burrow was on this Lions team at the same price and everything, you get him at the same price as Jared Goff, it's hard. And say he does stay healthy, he's probably staying more healthy because he's behind with the best offensive line in the NFL, and he's not getting sacked a million times. So, like, that all has to do with it. So I would go Joe Burrow as well, and that's nothing. You guys know me. I'm a Goff guy. I'm all in on Jared Goff. But the fact, though, I think what we need to take out of this is he has him over Dak, Brock, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love. All of those guys are over him. I will say this. It got in the video, he did take Stafford over Jared Goff. He did do that. So that was an interesting.
The thing with Joe Burrow, he didn't say anything skill related. All he said was he's more healthy, which Joe played in 10 games last season, but played in 16 the year prior, 16 the year prior. And that's not including the postseason. And to your point, in 2021. So people act like he's missed most of every single season. Like I get it. If you want to take the health, I whatever. I disagree with it. But Lucas, you're being called out right now. He says, you're an idiot, Lucas. You're blind. Jared Goff's numbers as a quarterback, someone who throws the ball, are not any better than Goff. If you want to talk about Burrow's occasional legs, sure.
Oh, well, Dak Prescott over Burrow then too. Fuck it. Put it over him. Fuck it. Purdy over Burrow too. Fuck it. Tua, put him over Burrow. Fuck it. But this is why I just want to hit my head into a wall when people just base their arguments majority off of stats. It's asinine. Like, if you watch the situations, if you watch the context of the game, it's so much different. It's so much different.
Yeah, no, go on, Mike, because
I was going to say, I agree with every quarterback on there aside from Joe Burrow, but like, people downplay Jalen Hurts after like one bad stretch of the year to end the year. I think he's going to bounce back really well. People forget how high on him and Colin Cowherd probably the year that they did do well and he did do well was probably sucking him off too. So like, I don't take anything like that he says like really seriously like that as far as the QBs go, because like
I do
Jalen
think
Hurts, like people shit on Jalen Hurts like he's some shit quarterback or some mid-tier quarterback now, and I do not agree with that.
I do think there's a part of the thing with Jalen Hurts though, where he's kind of a success within his own situation, if that makes sense. Like he also, just like Jared Goff, he has probably the first or second best offensive line in football. He has 2 or 3 elite wide receivers. Now he's going to have Saquon Barkley. Sirianni, as much as some people hate
every
him.
quarterback has weapons, though. You won't
Yeah,
just
but
hold
like
up against him.
But Jalen Hurts has an offense that's 100 times better than some of these guys out there. Like look at Justin Herbert's situation and look at Jalen Hurts. It's night and day difference. So Jalen Hurts,
but
he
drop
should have had the year
Jalen
he had
Hurts on the
last 2 years ago.
49ers in place of Brock Purdy.
Yeah, but Brock Purdy's had a good year as well last year. He was in the MVP conversation too. A lot of these quarterbacks, it's about what situation you're in. Jared Goff's in a great situation. Brock Purdy's in a great situation. Jalen Hurts is in a great situation. Like those guys are in good situations where if you throw Jalen Hurts on the Chargers team right now with none of those weapons there anymore, he's not going to do what Justin Herbert's going to do this year. Like he's night and day
throw Jared
difference.
Goff on the Chargers. Come on now.
It's the same thing. He's probably not going to do what he's doing on the Lions. It's the same exact thing. Not saying it's different, but I think it depends on your situation. But like, I don't know. I'm not going to say like I think Jalen Hurts he's a good football player, but he does like that situation he's in Philly the last 2 years. Unbelievable situation.
Not last year.
Well, not last year, but that was because of the OC in that situation.
And he was
still
hurt.
had the pieces. He was hurt, but he still had all of those pieces, and he just had a bad OC.
That was a much worse situation than people like on the outside. Everything looked great, but when you watch him, you're like, wow, this team is just a mess. Offensively, defensively, they had no secondary. They couldn't stop a nosebleed, and they even couldn't stop the run with that front seven. So who's that going to hurt and impact? A hurt quarterback even more so.
Exactly, but if Jalen Hurts is as elite as you want to put him over Jared Goff, which I disagree.
I
would still take Goff. Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts was that good, then he would have made that situation better. He would have went out and he wouldn't have lost in week 1 of the playoffs.
I still think Goff is the number 1 quarterback in the NFC going into next year. I just said people downplay Hurts and talk about him like he's some mid quarterback, as if there wasn't a bigger situation behind the scenes. It wasn't just him playing quarterback. It was the Eagles team in general was a shit show, coaching staff. It goes way deeper than the guy playing injured as QB.
Well, look at this graphic that Adam put out on his Twitter, and I think this is puts Jared Goff, what he's done, into some context, which is pretty impressive. Adam put this out. It's a graphic, and for people that are listening, it says "America runs on Goff." That's the title of the graphic. It says Jared Goff recently signed a 4-year, $212 million extension. Jared Goff, and this is since 2022. Qualified quarterbacks. Obviously, they played a certain amount of snaps, so on and so forth. He has 9,000 passing yards, over 9,000, second among those quarterbacks, 59 passing touchdowns, third amongst those quarterbacks. Actually, I think it's combined touchdowns, but whatever. I think it's like 1 rushing, probably like 2 rushing, whatever. 19 interceptions, 5th. 98.6 pass rating, 5th. Red zone stats. This is wild. Red zone. 40 TDs to 1 pick.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Oh, it is passing touchdowns. Okay, you got to put passing touchdowns, all right? But passing touchdowns, 59. That's where that. But
that's
40
nuts.
TDs to 1 pick. That is wild, by the way.
That's where Stafford absolutely struggled too. Stafford was great at getting down the field with drives, and then they would just stall out in the red zone. With Jared Goff, doesn't matter if it's through his arm or on the ground, they put points on the board when you need them to.
Dude, did you guys see the stat? I'm going to add a stat in here with this to kind of go along with this. Jared Goff in the NFL right now, 30 active players with 30,000. I think that may actually be all time with 30,000 passing yards. He has the least amount of he's the only one with under like 100 interceptions with 30,000 career passing yards. Like that's great. Like these stats, Jared Goff. If we're looking at numbers, boys, Klotz, I know you don't like. Sometimes let's watch the game here, brother. Look, the numbers are the numbers, though. This is unbelievable. This is a well-deserved contract. This man, and you probably could do these same numbers and next to it do wins over the last 2 years. Pretty sure he's 4th in wins out of all quarterbacks in the last 2 seasons as well.
Yeah. That's where me and Lucas, we agree with that. Numbers don't tell the full story. But I think they have to be factored in. They do.
They do.
Okay. All right. I think we were arguing over nothing, by the way, the other night, but that's a whole nother thing. I think we
Look at
this. Stafford has a 54-1 TD interception ratio since he's been in LA in the red zone.
Yeah, well, I was talking about in Detroit.
Yeah, which you're
McVay
right. Adam, go back. I wonder, could Adam do that? I wonder, could you do that for us, Adam? Look at what his TD interception ratio was in the red zone in Detroit.
Yeah,
I'm
sure Adam.
maybe it's not as bad as I thought. I would just remember it just be like Kenny Galladay bomb, field goal.
Oh,
Marvin Jones bomb.
I'm just curious.
No points. Like there's so many
To
times.
be fair,
They
I'm not saying it was all of them. I'm saying Stafford was like a talented quarterback.
to be fair, Klotzy, you don't look at the stats. You watch the game, brother. I got you.